Well, what do you do when you're bored in the village?
When you're bored and dirty, you go to the BANYA.
Are we bored and dirty?
I mean, I'm usually bored and dirty, so yeah.
Let's get this. The BANYA, a true way to experience Russian culture. All right, Will, tell us about your BANYA experiences that you've had.
I've had some serious BANYA experiences. First time I went to the BANYA was in Russia in like 2009. It was with an old veteran of the Afghan War. And so we had some stuff in common, me being a veteran of the Iraq War, and it ended up being, I remember, I'd never been in there in a situation like that, and the guy was like, okay, you know, get naked, go in the BANYA, and I did, and then he pulled out some leaves and was like, all right, lay down, I'm gonna smack you with these leaves, and they put the leaves in like boiling water and they hit your back, and he's like, turn over, and I was like, it's a little awkward, but okay. And he was like, dude, you gotta cover your junk up, I don't want to smack him. I was like, okay, alright, reasonable. And so I did that, but anyway, it's part of the process to get your pores to open up, get the heat going in your body, and then once you do that, you sweat it all out, drink some water, and you feel like $1,000,000. So that was my first BANYA experience, but I've had many since, and I'm a big fan of the BANYA.
Yeah, they're really great.
So yeah, that's that.
The first and only time I've ever really been beaten in my life was by my pastor back in Ukraine. The lead pastor of my church at his BANYA. with the
phrasing.
With the leaves.
Phrasing.
With the leaves.
All right, still phrasing. All right.
But yeah, and then we like cycled it, being in the BANYA, and then jumping in the freezing water, and then going back into the BANYA, and you know. So
sounds like an odd tradition, but trust me, it's nice.
We'll see what happens here. Oh look, a goose, or many geese rather. Ducks. Oh, they're all ducks. So we got to Nina's house. We got to the BANYA. You could like smell the fish that we caught that she cooked. It was not good.
Take my socks off. Okay. I'll grab that door and you come in. Cool, there we go. Let's get
You do this.
Thank you. Okay, good. Let's do it. Alright, so now it's a little bit warm in here. We know that the rocks are hot, that's the main thing. But what we do need is a little bit of water. So turn this on. Actually. Okay. Turn that back off. Now, here's where the real magic goes. Just there it goes. Yeah. Now the heat really starts to come in.
Yep.
There it is.
Yep.
Alright. One more. Ooh.
Oh. The lens is fogging up here.
Nope. Foggy boys only. There it goes again, nice and quick.
Oh god.
So yeah.
And now we sweat.
And now you start the sweating. The sweating begins. Once the steam hits, usually, that's when you really start sweating. Now, this is a little bit different. So this is technically a sauna, as they say, right? As compared to an actual BANYA, whereas a BANYA typically has it's like a cistern on top of a wood stove, and they start, burning wood in it sort of earlier on the day. So like it's hot enough. Once it's hot enough, there's also rocks on the cistern as well. Then you pour rocks on top of it, and that, or water on top of that, and that's how it gets steamy. But in general, it's usually actually a wood fire as opposed to this, which is an electric one. But this is inside of a house, so. I used to go to the BANYA with this Finnish friend of mine, and he would, whenever we were there as a group, what he would do is he would dump so much water on the rocks that it would get so hot that everybody would leave, except it would be me and him, and we would sit in there, and I would just be like, you know, I was like, man, how do you, like, deal with this? He was like, I'm Finnish. We just do. And I don't know, there used to be the world sauna competition. And I think the last time they ran it, which was like years ago, like a decade ago, maybe they started doing it again, but like it came down to a Russian and a Finn, and I think the Russian died and the Finn got brain damage.
Oh my god.
But so they decided to stop doing that, but you know, it'd be like that.
Alright, update, how you doing?
Good. Gonna cool off a little bit. It's a small banya. Normally there's like a prihozha komnata. There's like a room out, like a, what you call it? Like there's a room that you can enter in outside, but because this is in a house, it's very small and it won't fit. So they have the water in here, so we can just turn that on. So go ahead. A little more. That's the one. Leave it there.
Okay. You know, should we swap places for your phone?
We can, yeah.
Oh, fuck now. There he is. Now, mind you, this is not any old water. We're talking about Alaskan water, like water that is pumped up from the mountain streams underneath the ground to the surface. It was frigid, freezing, cold. Oh my goodness, but it felt so good.
Alright, you ready? How does that feel?
So I thought this might be an appropriate time to introduce this guy right here.
This guy.
This guy.
Alright. Hey everybody, my name is Will. I am a fellow world traveler along with Nathan, and we decided to follow up on some interesting information that we had heard about this place. And yeah, so I've traveled to many different countries, and I've lived in different countries, and I love trying new experiences like this, up to and including crawling into a barrel of chocolate fish.
Is that all? Is that all you would like to share with the public?
I don't know. Hey, there's some questions, man.
When did you first get into Russian language? Obviously, you're fluent, so like when did that start?
Yeah, I started learning Russian in high school, actually. We had a Russian program in my high school in South Carolina, and it, like a lot of language programs in the U.S., I think it was lacking a bit, but the lady who ran it was quite nice, and at least she gave me a taste of Russian culture, helped me understand some of the basics. When I went to college, I started taking Russian as well, but I left to join the Army. I joined the Army, and I actually became an Arabic linguist, but I don't speak that anymore. And I spent several years in the military before finishing my degree in Russian. And during that time, I also lived in Kyrgyzstan, and I traveled some of Central Asia. After that, I spent some time in Afghanistan as well. And eventually, I ended up living in Moscow for a while, and that more or less is my experience in terms of how I got into Russian.
Any favorite things about Russian culture?
I mean, the BANYA is up there. The real deal BANYA is up there. Some of the food, borscht, It's very, very good. I will say there are some foods that I think you really have to grow up with. Холодец is like a meat jelly. Not a fan. Selyotka pod chuboy, which is like herring under pickled. It's like herring that they put in like a sauce underneath pickled beets. What else? There's a few that I'm like, oh, a kroshka, which is like this cold soup. Absolutely disgusting. But you know, some Russians, they grew up with it. They love it. They love it. They love it. Others, you know, I've heard some say that it's холодный смерть, which means it's cold death. So, yeah. But other than that, I mean, I've always been greeted warmly whenever I travel to Russia and spend time with Russians.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that's it for me. Man.
Should we apply some cold water to our hot bodies?
Yes. Do the cold water.
Do the cold water thing.
Let's see here.
Oh, that's cool. It's Alaska ice water, baby. Oh. Yeah, this is like straight out of the Alaskan pipes. It's freezing cold. Absolutely frigid. So. So the thing we're really missing right now are the stinging nettle.
They're not stinging nettles. They're typically birch leaves.
The birch. What we're missing are the birch leaves. If I had that, see, I would lay him down across this plank here.
Again, phrasing.
And I would beat him.
Phrasing, please.
Yeah, it's family friendly now.
So they take these little buckets and they fill them with very hot water, and then once you do that, you stick the leaves. It's kind of like looks like a kind of a paddle, and you put them in the hot water. They steep, and actually it's funny because I mean they'll use them over and over and over again. They'll dry them out in the sauna as it cools off, but they'll steep, and it almost makes like a tea in the water. Like you can see how brown the water gets, and it's not from the dirt. It's actually from what's in the leaves. And a lot of Russians believe, and I don't see any reason why this wouldn't be the case, that inside of the leaves are, you know, it's plant. It has, you know, certain vitamins in it, and it's almost medicinal in some sense. So when you're hitting yourself, in addition to the heat, in addition to the water, they believe that some of the medicinal properties of the birch leaves help open your pores and help you cleanse your body a little bit more. So, yeah.
That's your BANYA experience for you, minus a couple things, but in essence, that's it.
That's it. Yeah, once you're done with it, typically, you know, particularly when you're in the village, a lot of people will use it as a shower. So they'll basically rinse off there with soap, water. There's a drain in the bottom. In this case, right outside the door was the shower. So you're able to kind of sweat it out, and then you pour some cold water on yourself, leave, and then take a little shower. So not only have we sweat out the toxins, as they say, we are also clean now. So feels like $1 million, man. So now we can go lay down, relax, and yeah, get some sleep.
All right, well, good night. We'll see y'all soon. Until then, like this video if you liked it, subscribe for more content like this, and hit that notification bell so you get notified when we drop the next episode. Until then, I will see you soon. Bye.